Okay, it's recording, so you can start whenever you like.
In the 90s, we had a lot of countries that transited to democracy. But then there was a turnaround. If you look at what happened in Nepal, you look at what happened in Bangladesh, what happened in Pakistan. And I think that the challenges in a transition are far more than once you have crossed it. Some of the reasons that these countries reversed their system was because there was no rule of law, respect for it, and they did not have an independent judiciary. The second reason is that the military is far too strong, or the monarchy, which is backed by national armies, are far too strong for the new, inexperienced leadership to get civilian control and therefore get civilian policies implemented. And the third thing has always been either ethnic or religious extremism in these countries. If you look at Pakistan, it was religious extremism. If you look at Bangladesh, it was a mixture of religious extremism plus the military itself. And if you look at Nepal, it was again an ethnic strife plus the fact that the monarchy and the allies of the monarchy were far too strong, and the judiciary in all three countries was not independent. The ones that lasted longer was where the judiciary was more independent. So I think that when people go into transition, they have to give it a thought, because you can't sort of dispense with the entire judicial system. But there have to be new setups also that have to be put in place. For example, in our country, major political parties agreed that they would set up a constitutional court over and above the other courts. They did not implement it because circumstances were such that the judiciary had gained a kind of a populist appeal. Now they realize that having not done it, you have a judiciary with an old mindset, which has an establishment mindset, and that mindset is incompatible with development of democratic development as such. And so you get a huge plethora of jurisprudence, which is bringing in religious laws, which is bringing in archaic ideas, which is again bringing back and resurrecting dictatorships and the rules set by dictatorships, rather than opening the doors for more liberal interpretation of law. Now, the trick is that they say that access to justice has been opened because they give themselves vast jurisdictions, which is possible in democracy and not possible under dictatorial rules. But having given themselves that jurisdiction, they misuse it by making jurisprudence less liberal. And that is a great worry in Pakistan today, because we found that the judiciary was very much supported by a popular movement of lawyers, and this judiciary was brought back with the hope that it would now make amends for their past. And people are confused because they do say that we made amends in the sense that they have taken up far more cases on fundamental rights, but when the judgment comes, it's only lawyers and people who have expert eye can see that the jurisprudence is anything but promotion of fundamental rights. So I believe that monitoring transitions is important. This is a time where not only human rights activists, but our peace activists, but justice activists have to stand up and explain and communicate to the people how judiciaries will use the media to popularize themselves and at the same time illiberalize jurisprudence on rights.
If I could ask just one quick follow-up question, if you have any recommendations for strategies that activists can use to do this, or any lessons learned from you've had in order to do that, to reach out?
Well, you know, in Pakistan, there was an initiative to have an amendment to the constitution where, in which several aspects of the constitution were addressed. Some activists did give an input into that constitutional amendment. But unfortunately, what was missing and what we missed an opportunity was to pressurize the parliamentarians to do away with most of the recommendations and most of the amendments made by dictatorial rules. We had hoped that they would do it, and they would have the common sense. But I think that one of the lessons to be learned by activists is not to presume that all politicians will do things out of common sense, because they have various pressures on them. And you have to continue making your pressure felt as well. The minute you take it for granted, they feel other pressures, and they lose sight of common sense.
Thank you so much.